Exactly.
So would you say that nobody should be a Christian because my interpretation of Leviticus 25 verses 44 through 46 entails the conclusion that God's okay with slavery?
Well, yeah, when he was saying in that verse, no, listen. What he was saying in that verse was that slaves should obey their masters to avoid damage.
Oh, no, that's not what he was saying at all. He said that you may
so
buy...
You know what God was saying?
Yeah, because I could read. Like, literally, the clear text says, you may buy your male and female slaves from the nations around you, and you may bequeath them to your children as inherited property for life. But you cannot buy your slaves from your own country because you can't mistreat the Israelites. Yeah, that's explicitly what it says.
So it condones slavery in the Bible?
Yeah, so nobody should be a Christian, right? Oh, wait,
Which is worse?
People have interpretations. One moment. People have interpretations of the Christian Bible that exclude that as being true. Either they say that the entirety of the Old Testament is parabolic, they just kind of ignore it, or they just say that they read the New Testament. But under your view, that because it is true an interpretation of the Bible exists that leads to the conclusion that God's okay with slavery, then nobody should be Christian.
What are the verses before and after that?
Sure, the verses before Leviticus 25 verses 44 through 46, like Leviticus 25 verses 1 through 43, just go through other rules of God's that he gave to Moses. From around 20 to 43, it's God just saying that you can't enslave the Israelites, but you may own them as indentured servants.
Israelites?
Yeah.
Why would he say that about Israelites when Israelites were God's chosen people?
Well, that's why he said that you can enslave them. You could only make them indentured servants because they were his chosen people. Indentured servants for 7 years.
Okay. So
that's what it said before it.
Okay, I'm sure you're leaving something out. There's no way that it says in the Bible that slavery is okay.
So you're kind of proving my point here, because you have an interpretation of the Christian Bible that doesn't lead to the conclusion that slavery is okay. And I applaud you for that. I do. I thank you. That's something that could make somebody a good Christian. A good Christian would be somebody that, for starters, does not think that God's okay with slavery. And I have no issue with people who are Christian that do not think that God's okay with slavery. Very similarly, okay, I have no problem with Muslims that, like, for instance, interpret Aisha's hadith to not be operating off of the modern calendar. So when she says that she was 6, in all reality, in accordance with her biological age of the modern calendar, she was actually like 23, right? Yeah, I applaud that Muslim for not thinking that Aisha was 6, and I have no issue with him being a Muslim.
I think that's cope. When people think that Aisha was 26 or something.
Therefore, I think you're coping by saying that there must have been something else in Leviticus. See, I could play that game too, buddy. It goes both ways.
You're right, it does. Which is worse, pedophilia or slavery?
I think that both pedophilia and slavery are sufficiently wrong to say that we wouldn't want people to hold to those views. Right? That's fair. We wouldn't want people to think that slavery is okay. We wouldn't want people to think that pedophilia is okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think most decent people would agree with that.
Okay, perfect. So then in accordance with your view, people shouldn't be Muslim. Okay, sure. But they just also shouldn't be Christian.
Yeah, if Jesus went and preached from the hilltops that, abuse your slaves, trade your slaves.
Oh, wait, if Jesus preached from the hilltops to abuse your slaves? Well, actually, Exodus 21 verses 20 through 21.
That's the Old Testament.
It says that you could beat your slaves as long as they recover in 3 days or less.
Yeah, that was the Old Testament. That wasn't Jesus saying that.
Now you're giving me some interpretation that leads to the conclusion that, well, actually, my interpretation of Christianity excludes that. Same way, for the last time, Muslims will tell you that Aisha, when she said she was 6, she wasn't operating off of the modern-day calendar, and her biological age was closer to 23. I mean, you're proving my point. Do you want to prove my point again? Do you want to prove my fucking point again? Like, this is the point. The point is that there are Christians who vehemently detest the notion that God's okay with slavery. God's okay with slavery. Just like there are Muslims who vehemently detest the notion that God's okay with pedophilia.
Well, yeah, but no Christians.
This argument is irrefutable.
No. Listen. No Christians denounce the New Testament, where Jesus was alive and was speaking to people, and people have recorded it and written it down so that we can read it later.
Yeah, no Christians.
No Christians announce that, right? That's the whole point of Christianity.
Well,
like,
actually, if you don't think that a single Christian denounces any of the New Testament, then
I'm saying
not
I'm
a
sure
single
there's some
Christian
small sects.
denounces the Old Testament either, because Jesus said in the New Testament, I did not come here to abolish the old law, I came here to fulfill it.
Okay.
Plus the Trinity. So, Jesus, Father,
what I'm saying is,
Holy Spirit, they're all God, and it was God in the Old Testament.
Children. Jesus wasn't sleeping with children. Muhammad was.
Yeah,
he married Aisha when she was 6.
So the Christian God, for everybody watching, especially the Christians, I'm about to start arguing using the same methodology that this guy is, meaning that I'm about to assume the most fundamentalist interpretation of Christianity possible to show this guy how the game could be played for any mainstream religion. So go ahead, make your point.
Okay, my point is, if Jesus slept with a 6-year-old or a 9-year-old, if he married a 6-year-old and slept with her when she was 9, Western Christians wouldn't accept that.
Okay. But they do accept. Okay. So they wouldn't accept that? Well, guess what? They do accept a God who told Saul and his men to go and genocide newborns.
That wasn't Saul and his men doing that. That was God.
Yes, it was.
When?
1 Samuel 15:3. The Amalekites. And then even if your last critique was true, it wasn't Solomon and his men doing it, it was God doing it. Okay, so therefore, the Islamic prophet raped a kid, and the Christian God killed kids. Whoa! Those are both two very bad things to do to kids, right? It's bad to rape kids, it's bad to kill kids.
Well, yeah, but God is God. He knows everything.
Oh, Muhammad is Muhammad. He's a prophet. Wait. If it's okay for God to kill kids, then it's okay for Muhammad to rape kids. See how bad this is?
No, God is God, dipshit.
Okay,
Muhammad
so all of a sudden,
God.
Okay, well, is this not
Muhammad
what the
said, hey,
is
listen,
this not what the Islamic fundamentalists say? The Islamic fundamentalists probably come up with some bullshit. Oh, sure, Aisha was 9 or whatever, but Muhammad's a prophet. Oh, sure, those newborns were newborns or whatever, but God is God. Is this you were just now we're battling between the Christian fundamentalist excuse, okay, for 1 Samuel 15:3 and the Islamic fundamentalist excuse for Muhammad marrying a kid. Okay, both the Islamic fundamentalist excuse for Muhammad is shit, and the Christian fundamentalist excuse for 1 Samuel 15:3 is shit. We're doing a holy war, dude. Why can't we just agree that all fundamentalist interpretations of all mainstream religions are fucking dog shit, and we applaud all followers of all mainstream religions who do not hold on to those fundamentalist interpretations? Because this little holy war we're doing here, it goes both ways. There's no strike that you can make against Muslims that you cannot make against Christians if we are reading the Christian Bible, the Quran, and the Hadiths through the same scope of fundamentalist interpretation.
How about this? Muslims, or Muhammad said, after he wrote, the Quran, that no other works will come out after this. This is the end. This is God's final word. Christians never said that. It didn't say it in the Bible. This is what God believes, and no other words after this shall ever be written. Muhammad said that because Muhammad was a warlord who wanted to enforce his beliefs by force onto the world.
Well, I mean, actually, the Christian Bible does kind of say that because they include the story of Revelation. Basically, the Bible...
Yeah, Revelation talks about the end of the world. It doesn't talk about there is no word after Jesus spoke the last time.
Who else could give us new word? Jesus again, right? But with the predictions that we see of Jesus's second and last coming in the book of Revelation, we know that he doesn't do that. So therefore, we do know in accordance with Christian theology that the Bible is final. And I mean, this is why a lot of Christians don't really like the Joseph Smith LDS fuckers, right? Mormons, there we go. This is why a lot of Christians don't like Mormons, because, they claim to have added new word to the Christian Bible.
Yeah, which they did, which is kind of absurd.
Okay, so you just called it absurd to add new word onto the Bible.
Well, no, just the way they found it. Hey, I wrote these words down on a tablet, but only I can see the tablet, and I'll tell you what it says.
By the way,
and then, hey, we'll take the tablets away, and then you have to retell a story, and it's completely
by the way, the canon of the Bible is finite, right? Like, yeah, Christians do not think that there's going to be like a third testament because they already know what fruits Jesus's next and last coming will bear. And that will not be a third testament. It will be the end of the world.
Okay, yeah.